Your thumb already knows the motion. Swipe. A flash of information, swipe again. Laughter, anger, sadness. Each swipe brings a new emotion. You've probably done it a few hundred times today, not by choice, but out of habit. That feed is not just stealing your time. It is quietly rewiring the part of your brain that decides what is worth your attention, and it is doing it while you feel almost nothing. You've probably been hooked for years, and it's costing you your focus, your sleep, and your mood. It's stealing hours out of your life every single day. Those hours add up to years. Years spent in hypnosis, staring at a screen built to keep you hooked. This is the story of what a single swipe does to your reward system. A change scientists can now watch on a brain scan, and a number that tells you how far it has already gone. But first, the lie you have been told about your own attention. You have heard it. The human attention span has dropped to 8 seconds, shorter than a goldfish. It is not true. That number came from a Microsoft marketing report in 2015 that no scientist has ever been able to source. And the goldfish comparison was invented whole. Goldfish memory is perfectly good. Here is the part that should worry you more than the myth. Your attention did not shrink to 8 seconds. It fragmented. You can still lock onto a show for 3 hours straight. What broke is your patience for anything slow. A book, a lecture, a basic conversation. That is not a shorter attention span. That is a brain that has been trained to reject the quiet. Your mind has been trained to ignore what it truly means to be human. If you want to know what everyday habits are slowly killing you, take 1 second to subscribe. Every swipe is a pull on a slot machine. Sometimes you get something funny or shocking. Most of the time you get nothing. That unpredictable payout is the most addictive pattern known to science, and your brain answers each pull with a small hit of dopamine, thousands of times a day. A 2025 paper in Frontiers in Public Health named it exactly that. Dopamine scrolling. Just one more. Again and again, and each hit does a little less than the one before it. That is the part almost nobody understands. When you flood a reward system with dopamine, it protects itself. It turns the volume down. It loses its receptors, meaning that you constantly need more stimulation to maintain your baseline levels. Scientists call it downregulation, and it is the same mechanism behind every addiction. The feed still feels okay. Everything else starts to feel gray. The walk, the meal, the person across the table. Real life, the slow kind, stops being enough. But here's what puts doom in doom scrolling. Your brain was built to hunt for threats, so bad news grabs you harder than good news ever will. Each alarming headline trips your amygdala, your internal smoke detector, and pumps out cortisol, the stress hormone meant for real danger. Scroll a feed of disasters and your body cannot tell the difference. Doctors are already calling the result headline stress disorder, a nervous system stuck in low-grade fight or flight all day over things you cannot touch. You can see the damage on the brain itself. In 2025, researchers wired heavy scrollers to an EEG and found weakened activity in the prefrontal cortex, the exact part of you responsible for impulse control. The prefrontal cortex handles executive function. It's the part of your brain whose job is to say, put the phone down. The heavier the use, the quieter that voice gets. You are not imagining that it feels harder to stop. It is measurably harder. That flat, itchy pull you might feel right now, a few minutes into a video, the urge to go check something else. That is not boredom. That is the mechanism working on you while you watch a video about the mechanism. And this is not one cherry-picked study. In 2024, researchers pooled 71 studies covering nearly 100,000 people. Heavy short-form users scored lower on attention, impulse control, and working memory. The same result, again and again, across the world. In 2004, the average person could stay on a single screen task for 2.5 minutes. By 2012, 75 seconds. By 2018, 47 seconds. It is constantly getting cut in half. Where are we going to be in 15 years? And that was the optimistic part, because the feed does not stop when you close your eyes. Bring it to bed and the blue light suppresses your melatonin by up to half, shoving sleep later and shorter, night after night. Chronic short sleep is linked to higher rates of depression, heart disease, and earlier death. That is the honest answer to how a phone can kill you. Not in one night, slowly, through the sleep it quietly robs, and the body that never fully recovers. Then, there is your mind. The U.S. Surgeon General pointed to a study of more than 6,000 teenagers. When you spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, the risk of depression and anxiety roughly doubles. And when Facebook first rolled out across college campuses, researchers used it as a natural experiment and measured what followed. Severe depression rose 7%, anxiety disorders 20%. Not correlation this time. This is causation. If the studies don't get you off social media, hopefully the testimonies will. Go to the corners of the internet where people talk about this honestly, and it is the same confession, over and over. On Reddit, one person said, "Scrolling ruined my attention span. I cannot stay in a conversation for more than a few seconds." Another person said, "Doomscrolling has made me so stupid. I lost my ability to read, to write, to study." A graduate student described losing the ability to simply read a book. Her eyes no longer able to focus on a paragraph long enough to derive any meaning from it. They described the feeling it gives them in almost identical words. Numb, hollow, heavier and dulled, a slow descent into a personal doom of their own making. One person put it like this: "I pick up my phone feeling fine, and a few minutes later I am anxious, disgusted, and helpless." There is even a name for the state it leaves you in: popcorn brain, a mind so wired for constant jolts that stillness becomes unbearable. Captions people post at 2 in the morning. "Doom scrolling is ruining my life." TikTok has been ruining my life for 5 years. "I am in tears. I want to be free of this." Whole threads of people describing the same moment, looking up from the screen and realizing hours are gone, the sun has set, and they cannot remember a single thing they saw. These are not lazy people. They are people who tried to put it down and couldn't. So here is the truth that the feed will never surface for you. Your brain is not damaged. It is doing exactly what it evolved to do, dropped into an environment engineered to exploit it. And the same wiring that trapped you is the wiring that pulls you back out. The science on that is real, and it is faster than you think. Stop scrolling, and your stress chemistry settles within a couple of hours. Your attention starts coming back in about 20 minutes. For heavy users, dopamine sensitivity begins climbing back within a few weeks, and brain studies on people who quit found measurable recovery after just 30 days. Your brain doesn't have to stay broken. It can heal. Listen to the people who actually walked out. A woman who quit for 50 days said it as plainly as it gets: "I have my brain back. I have my ideas back." A man who stopped described his mind going quiet for the first time in years. He could finish books again, sit through a full conversation without reaching for his phone. And slowly, his capacity for joy came back. He started noticing things again: the light through the trees, the way people laugh, the small, slow stuff the feed had been forcing him to ignore. That is what is sitting on the other side of the swipe. So look down. Your thumb is still resting on the glass, already loaded for the next one. That next swipe is a choice. It has always been a choice. The feed just spent years making you forget that.